What's going on, guys? So I wanted to do another quick video on this whole Coppa thing. Like everybody else, I wanted to do a future of my channel video because I've been kind of keeping tabs on this. I've been seeing what other people are doing. There is a lawyer who has a channel that has been going over this since it came out way back in September. And just to go over it very briefly, he already didn't believe that the FTC had a good case against us YouTubers versus what YouTube specifically did do in wrong and illegally. And he was trying to build the case, not literal, but I mean just discussing the weaknesses in the FTC's plan and all this stuff, and in holding us accountable as being operators and owners of the website. But then he actually finally got the paperwork a couple days ago. He actually got the actual lawsuit papers and everything that was filed against YouTube, and then the actual settlement papers. And in that, it specifically said that we were considered operators and owners because back in 2016, YouTube gave us the ability to turn on, or actually, they gave us the ability to turn off the personalized slash targeted slash behavioral advertising. So what YouTube did wrong was collect data, track information, and apply advertising to children. And in a lot of states, they actually knew that kids were watching, and they were selling advertising space and promoting this to toy companies such as Hasbro, Mattel, and all such stuff. Said, hey, we know these kids are watching our sites. If you do this kind of stuff, we can help target the ad towards that if you throw some money towards us. That's a very simplified version of what they did. But when it comes to us, the reason the FTC can come after you more or less, and why they consider you an operator if you are a channel owner, a whatever you want to call it, creator, is because they gave us the power to turn on and turn off the targeted ads. Now, I'll pull it up right here on the screen for you. Hopefully, I'll remember to do this. If you want to turn off your targeted ads, say you're in a gray zone like myself, I do these things. I sometimes look at Transformers and things like that, but I don't intend for my videos to be for children. They are for collectors. They are for builders. Things like that. People of my age range and maybe slightly younger that do like these same things. I have the same like-minded characters. And the younger end of my spectrum of subscribers and watchers is like tiny percentage, a super tiny percentage. So what does this mean? If you click this button, if you click the button that says turn off or disable these ads, it will mean you'll make less money on the back end. It means they're going to be running the ads that are contextual, which means that it's just based off of what they're doing right then and there, and then just the context of the situation. That's the kind of ads they'll run. More than likely, it's just going to be the whatever ads, just the no nonsense, just here's an ad for something. The problem what they were doing before was they could recognize by what the kids were watching. They were tracking what they were looking at. They were tracking the videos they were watching, and they were focusing these toy ads towards them. Like if you watch a lot of channels like mine, maybe you see Gundam ads and stuff like that. Or if you are a collector of sorts, you might actually see some things talking about toys and things like that. Especially nowadays, running up to Christmas, you might be seeing Walmart ads, stuff like that, talking about toy section, things like that. Depending on what you're looking at, it can sort of determine these things by what you're looking at on the internet. Anything connected to Google can track this information, and because they're using persistent ID tracking, which is based off your URL, your sign in, all these other kind of things. So as soon as you do any of these things, you log in wherever you are in the world, it recognizes where you are, it knows you, and it goes, think, here's some ads related to you. You see this on Facebook, and we already know your phones are always listening to you. So you talk about something, then you start seeing ads for it. It's that same system that does it. Now, what Google slash YouTube won't do is turn that off, because that is how they make their money. But what they gave us the power to do is turn it off, which means we don't make that much money. But it means they can no longer track any information. For someone like me who's in a big gray zone, because these things aren't really made for children, as we discussed before, they're ages 15 and up for almost all model kits, which is beyond this thing. But if I look at a Transformer, if I look at a Marvel Legend, or say, okay, so just for instance, where's the age range here? I know it's got to be on the box somewhere here. So I've got, 8 plus. So technically speaking, this, even though we're probably the ones collecting these things as 30 something guys and gals, it's ages 8 plus. So boom, right there, that's made for kids. Whereas something else might not be. Especially if it's something that's like an adult collectible, if it's something like Storm collectibles and stuff like that, apparently those are like 17 plus. Those are more mature rated figures. They're not marketed towards kids. That's a thing that might be important. That's something that the FTC needs to know about. So I've linked to it before. If you need to go do the comment thing on the FTC's website on the very specific case so they know what it is, I'll link it. But what does this mean? If your channel is not for kids, like my channel is not meant for kids, it's not targeted towards kids. I might look at kid things, but you don't want to risk it. It's entirely possible, not 100%, by switching this off, you are now not demonetizing yourself. Don't confuse it that. You're limiting your income based on the ads that are sent, but they will not be tracking anyone who looks at your stuff, regardless of age. So it's kind of a little bit of an umbrella there. It's still going to be raining, but you probably will be a little bit more dry. But if you are making anything that can definitely be construed as targeted towards kids, turn off monetization. Period. Don't even try. The for kids option, if you click the this is made for kids option, and this is how I came to this conclusion, and it's the same conclusion this lawyer came to while analyzing the paperwork. The for kids option turns off the tracking. It already does something. You'll still have monetization, but it'll suck. So it's turning off targeted ads. That's what YouTube said it'll do. But as for why it turns off all the other things, so in live streams, you can't do super chats, you can't have a donate button, you can't have membership. So if you're making for kids content, you cannot make money off of things that are actually made and targeted towards kids. You can't make money off of that because now you're making kids content for profit on a website like YouTube. Can't do that. You cannot advertise and or make money off of children. That's the problem here. Don't do it. Just don't do it. If you know your shit is actually directed towards kids, claim it as for kids. Don't bother with monetization. Find some other way around it. Be honest about that. Now for my stuff, I'm probably going to, on my secondary channel where I'm doing most of my figures and stuff like that now, I'm probably going to I don't have monetization, so there's already no tracking. But it's not made for kids specifically. So what I'll probably do is I will just unlist all of those videos, and they're going to go over to the Patreon. All of my figure reviews, all of my Transformers reviews, all of that kind of stuff is probably all going to end up on my Patreon. It'll all be unlisted. There's not going to be any ads on it now, regardless of channel. So if you like that content, I'm sorry. I think the best way to do it and to protect myself and still maybe make a little tiny bit of money on it, I'm going to put it on the Patreon for $1 a month. I have the base $1 a month option, and then I've got a $5 a month option for people who really want to help support. And I got a $10 option that's even beyond that. I've talked about it before. I only have one person who still does that, and I appreciate John for helping me out that way. But if you see a lot of creators doing this is why. Because a lot of these guys rely on the money. I don't necessarily rely on the money, but it helps. Now, as for the Gundam stuff on my main channel, this one right here, I have already turned off the switch. And I have set my channel to not made for kids. I've already started doing things like changing my description or my about section of my channel to include this channel is for ages 13 plus and adult collectors and model builders. I've already stated that because apparently the FTC will take a lot of these things into consideration when they come to look at your stuff. Are they going to say that every shiny, colorful looking figure is instantly a toy? Maybe. But they're also people, not just machines. Now, YouTube will have their whole automated setup that's going to scan your channels. It's going to scan every video you do. It's going to start picking up, this is made for kids, this is made for kids, whatever. It's probably going to do that. But in theory, they're going to have a system that allows you to uh, repeal these things or appeal these things. Just like the copyright system, if somebody says, nope, that's copyrighted material, you can't do that, and then you go, no, this is fair use, hopefully they'll have that system. That's not 100%, that's just the only thing that makes sense. If YouTube's going to have a system that will help you stay compliant and help keep them compliant, because they didn't set up a way for parents to give permission for their kids' info to be collected. So other websites that have kid-related content, you have to have a parental consent situation. YouTube doesn't have that. They don't want to have that. So that's the thing. Now on like YouTube Premium, where people buy that service, there's no ads run, and you're paying for it. The same reason why Hulu, Netflix, Disney, all of those streaming services don't have this problem, because it's a subscription service you're choosing to go into, and it's understood that kids are probably going to see these things. That's why TV works that way as well. It's a subscription, and kids are going to see it, but there's nothing specifically targeted towards kids, and when there is, they deal with that. Like if there's a kids section of Netflix, there's a kids section of Hulu, there's a kids section of these things. YouTube is way behind the mark on this, and that's what's going on. So if you have a channel like mine where you're doing Gundam stuff, or you're looking at Transformers, or you're looking at figures, or whatever, actually analyze your stuff. Go through it and be like, look, is this truly for kids? If your intent is to not make it for kids, you need to 100% make that clear. Maybe make a video about it. Maybe have your intro to your channel, have an intro video that says, look, this channel is not by any means totally protecting you, but it is all evidence to help you out. Make a video explaining, look, I check out all these things. I don't do this for kids. I just love these things, and I know a lot of other adults who do. I know a lot of other people who also collect these things and do this thing as a hobby. So make something like that. Put a disclaimer at the beginning of your video. Apparently, Shartimus is doing that. This video is intended for ages 13 and up. Please leave if you're not. A disclaimer helps, but it can't necessarily hurt. But if one thing they can always get you for is if you are being dishonest and you are fully aware that what you're doing is directed at kids. So making it perfectly clear that you aren't doing things directed towards children, not attracted to children, but directed at children, because we can't really fault ourselves for having things that kids might like or might be interested in. This all sort of goes under that giant cloud. That's where the FTC needs your help. Everyone needs to go over there, put in the comments, there needs to be definitions between what you say is straight up kid stuff, which is a giant broad brush, and it needs to be dissected. It needs to be broken down into smaller objects. Kid attractive, kid friendly, directed directly at kids. And there needs to be something in there for adult collectors, because we collect things that are easily construed as for kids, or in fact the age range is set for kids. But they don't know these things. They don't care right now because they don't know. If they're made to know and they're made to care, that's when the things will change to benefit you guys as viewers and the rest of us as tubers. So that's what we need to do. But if you're scared, which you should be slightly scared, and you don't know, and you want to keep making money at it, do what you got to do, but be safe. The minimum you can do is turn off targeted ads. It's in your channel settings. So go to settings, channel, general, advanced. and it'll be down at the very bottom. Of course, they put it below the fold, so you can turn off targeted ads, but you will keep everything else about your channel. Whereas if you put it for made for kids, it turns off your targeted ads. It doesn't turn off recommended. It just puts you in the kids category so that your stuff will be seen with other kids' stuff. That's a bit of a misunderstanding. If you actually go to click that button, it tells you that it may be suggested alongside other kids' content. So it's possible that even if you're set made for kids, other people who look at Transformers stuff, your stuff will still be seen by. It doesn't mean you won't have ads. Like I said, you'll have non-targeted ads. You have contextual ads that don't pay for shit, but they're there. It also turns off comments, which have to do with keeping pedophiles away from kids. So that part is actually true. It's just that YouTube is way behind on doing that. They said quite a long time ago they were going to do something about that in kids' content. Now, actually, on YouTube Kids app, I don't think adults can. I don't think anybody can comment on kids stuff in the adult kids or YouTube Kids. So there needs to be an adult kids section as a joke, but if you get what I'm saying, so going made for kids, if you know that it is your best bet. If you're in a gray zone, saying that you're not made for kids, but you're turning off all targeted ads, is kind of a safer ground, and then making it incredibly clear across your channel, however you need to do it, in a respectful and easy to recognize manner, that your channel is not meant for children. It is not targeted toward children. It may feature things that children may like, but it is not directed at children. And the main thing about it is that it cannot be something that is made for the commercial or for the purposes of, cannot be made for children for commercial purposes. You cannot make a toy commercial and set it for kids. You can't do that. You can't just be. And I think that's one thing that a very, very big, very, very specific channel did that might have started some of this. Not all of it, just some of it. Just saying. A very specific channel may have been found guilty of this. And for other things like that, if by chance you have a, say, toy commercial running in your videos, you might want to isolate that. You might want to remove that. You might want to state specifically that, or turn off monetization. Because in reality, having no monetization means there's no tracking of kids' information, and nobody is profiting off of any data that is collected. So in theory, being non-monetized might be an actual umbrella for most of this, but making sure that you're not also making kids advertisements as, like, you're not reviewing, you're literally making a toy commercial. That's still against the rules if you're claiming that you're not for kids, but you clearly made an advertisement for kids as your video. That still counts. Now, Patreon and merch and stuff like that, that doesn't seem to fall under this category, because that's an outside service that you talk about or that you bring up. Now, if that is targeting kids in the way you present it, that's a whole different story. Once again, you cannot sell shit to kids via the internet without the permission of their parents. And if the parents don't have a way to give you permission to do that, then you're entirely liable for what happens. Otherwise, don't do it. That's all I'm going to say about it. So, future of the channel. I've turned off all targeted ads on the main channel, which means I'll be making less money per everything. If you would like to help, please do this. Just go to the Patreon, choose the $1 option. That's all I'm going to ask. My normal model kit reviews and stuff like that, as long as they're not suddenly getting me in trouble, will stay on this channel. If you like my other content like that, it's probably all going to be on Patreon from now on. So Transformers reviews, things like that. I don't want to do that, but it's the best way to shelter me from the downside. It's like, I still want people who want to see that stuff, which, let's be honest, is a very small number of you guys here and on the secondary channel. And if I turn the secondary channel into something else down the line, I mean, that's just kind of my whatever I want to throw at a channel anyways. So if I can do that, I'll do that, But for now, just come help support the thing. I'm actually kind of working on merchandise and like real kind of merchandise ideas instead of just things that say Shoki reviews. and also working on a logo, which has been long since coming. So hopefully that'll be a thing that can happen sometime soon. And if you guys want to help out, by all means, the merch store is still there. Um, and of course, I thank my patrons who do help me every single month. And like I said, odds are all my non model building stuff is probably all going to be isolated to my Patreon, so that I don't even have to worry about it. So if your patrons suddenly see a ton of videos show up, that'll be what happens. So, but I'll see you guys later, and yeah, go voice your opinion to the FTC, sorry, and do the change.org petition to help things out. I'll see you guys later. Remember, as always, keep on nerding and to keep on building, and let's keep building this community together. But if you're under the age of 13, go away, please.